Have you ever noticed how the loudest people in the room are often the ones achieving the least? They talk endlessly about their plans, their goals, their dreams, but when the time comes to show results, there is nothing to see. Words are easy, action is rare, and that is why the greatest power lies not in telling people what you will do, but in quietly working on it until your success speaks for itself. Silence is the breeding ground of power. It is the shield that protects your vision, and it is the fire that fuels your execution. When you work in silence, you are free from judgment, free from unnecessary distractions, and free from the weight of other people's expectations. And when the results arrive, they arrive with a roar the world cannot ignore. Here's the truth most people don't understand. The more you talk, the more you drain your energy. Every time you announce your next big move, you hand over a piece of your power. You invite opinions, doubts, criticism, and jealousy that serve no purpose but to slow you down. Talking about success does not bring success. Planning out loud does not make the dream real. It is in the silence of your grind, the hidden hours of practice, the unseen nights of discipline, that greatness is built. The more invisible your effort, the more undeniable your results will become. Think of nature's most powerful forces. The seed grows in silence beneath the soil, unseen, unknown, until one day it bursts through the ground into a mighty tree. The storm gathers quietly on the horizon, building strength, until it unleashes its unstoppable force. True power is never loud at the beginning. It grows in silence, then reveals itself in dominance. That is the principle you must carry into your life. Protect your process, guard your energy, and let your results announce you. But here's the hook. When you stop telling people what you do, you create mystery. And mystery is power. People cannot attack what they cannot see. They cannot sabotage what they do not know. They cannot doubt what they are unaware of. Your silence becomes your armor. It keeps your vision pure and your focus sharp. And when the time comes to show your work, you arrive not with empty promises, but with undeniable proof. Most people fail not because they lacked talent, but because they wasted their energy explaining instead of executing. They were too busy convincing others instead of convincing themselves. They were distracted by noise instead of committed to action. But the ones who rise, the ones who achieve unstoppable success, are those who let their silence do the building and their success do the speaking. They don't need applause along the way, because they know the standing ovation will come at the end. So ask yourself, do you want to be the one who talks about writing a book, or the one holding the finished book in your hand? Do you want to be the one who talks about starting a business, or the one cutting the ribbon on launch day? Do you want to be the one who talks about getting fit, or the one who walks into the room transformed? Silence transforms dreamers into doers. Public results separate the pretenders from the achievers. And here is another truth: silence sharpens your focus. The moment you stop announcing your every move, you remove the noise of approval and criticism. You are no longer working for likes, for comments, or for validation. You are working for progress, and progress is built not on validation, but on consistency. You start doing it for you, not for applause. You become unstoppable because nothing external can derail you. Remember this hook: lions don't roar when they hunt. They stalk in silence. They move unseen. They strike with precision. And only when the prey is captured does the roar shake the jungle. In the same way, Your silence is your strength. Your patience is your strategy. And your success is the roar that will echo long after the work is done. So stop talking about your dreams. Start working on them. Stop telling people what you will do. Show them instead. Let the critics wonder what you're up to. Let the doubters whisper behind your back. Let the world think you're doing nothing. Because one day, when your results stand tall, they will realize you were not quiet because you were weak. You were quiet because you were working. The silence you choose today will become the applause you earn tomorrow. The discipline you practice in private will become the legacy you leave in public, and the power you protect in silence will become the force that carries you to heights no one thought possible. Never tell people what you do. Guard your vision. Protect your process. Work in silence. And when the time is right, let your results explode so loudly that the world cannot help but listen. This is the way to unstoppable success. This is the wisdom you carry forward. And this is how you win in public, by working relentlessly in silence. There is a secret to success that very few people ever master. It's not about working harder than everyone else, though hard work matters. It's not about being more talented than the crowd, though talent helps. The secret is far simpler, yet far more powerful. Protect your vision in silence. When you stop broadcasting your every move, you give your dreams the space they need to grow, and you protect them from the poisons of doubt, jealousy, and unnecessary distraction. Silence is your armor, and in a world that thrives on noise, silence is your superpower. Most people fall into the trap of talking too soon, too loudly, too often. They share their goals before they've even begun. They post their plans before they've taken action, and they tell everyone what they intend to do instead of doing it. And in doing so, they weaken themselves. Because the moment you release your vision into the world without results to anchor it, you invite judgment. You invite criticism. You invite questions that can plant seeds of hesitation in your own mind. How many dreams have been abandoned because someone else said, "That will never work"? How many visions have been crushed because someone laughed and planted doubt in the dreamer's heart? Here's the hook. Your vision does not need an audience in the beginning. It needs protection. A seed does not grow in the open sun on the first day. It grows in the darkness of soil, hidden, safe, shielded from the outside world until it is strong enough to break through. Your goals are the same. They are fragile when they are new. They are easily influenced. And if you expose them too soon, they may never survive long enough to blossom into greatness. Protecting your vision in silence means creating a sacred space between you and your dream. It means guarding your energy from the opinions of others, because most people do not see the world the way you do. They do not understand your hunger, your discipline, or your fire. They cannot imagine the future you are building, because they are trapped in the limits of their own perspective. If you give them your vision too early, they will handle it carelessly. And why should you expect them not to? Your dream was given to you, not to them. Think of the most powerful creators in history. The inventors, the innovators, the artists, the leaders. None of them revealed their vision before it was ready. They worked in silence, obsessing, perfecting, crafting behind closed doors. And then, when their work was ready, they stepped forward and changed the world. Apple didn't announce every experiment Steve Jobs was running in his garage. He protected his vision until it was ready to shock the industry. Greatness is built in silence. Greatness is revealed in results. Here's another hook. People can only attack what they can see. If they don't know what you're building, they can't doubt it, they can't sabotage it, and they can't compete with it. Silence is not just about discipline, it's about strategy. It keeps you hidden from unnecessary battles. It lets you move quietly, while others waste their energy shouting. When they are busy talking, you are busy building. And when the time comes, you will be so far ahead that their words won't matter. But let's be clear, protecting your vision in silence does not mean isolation. It doesn't mean you must walk alone. It means being selective about who you allow into your circle. It means sharing your dream only with those who will nurture it, not those who will tear it down. A dream is like a flame. It needs oxygen to grow, but if you expose it to too much wind, it will burn out. Be wise about where you place your vision, because the wrong audience can suffocate it before it even breathes. Protecting your vision in silence also creates discipline within yourself. It forces you to stop looking for validation. When you no longer announce your goals for applause, you start doing them for the right reason. You do them for progress. You do them because they matter, not because you need someone to cheer. This shift is what separates the pretenders from the achievers. The pretenders want to be seen. The achievers want to succeed, and success does not come from being seen talking about the dream. It comes from being unseen while building it. Here's the final hook you must carry. Success built in silence becomes impossible to ignore. When your results finally emerge, they are undeniable. People may have doubted you before, they may have laughed, they may have overlooked you. But silence gives you the element of surprise. Suddenly, there you are, with results too powerful to deny, standing taller than anyone expected. Your silence becomes your story, your results become your voice, and your success becomes your proof. So protect your vision. Nurture it in silence. Build it when no one is watching. And when the time is right, let the world see what silence and relentless focus can truly create. Energy is the most valuable currency you will ever own, and the way you spend it will determine the quality of your life. Most people waste their energy not on the hard work of building, but on the endless chatter of explaining. They tell the world what they are about to do, what they intend to achieve, what they plan to become, and in the process they drain the very power they need to execute. The truth is simple: energy belongs to execution, not explanation. If you want to rise, if you want to achieve, if you want to create unstoppable success, stop telling people and start showing them through relentless action. Here's the hook: words cost energy, but action multiplies it. Every time you explain your vision to someone who doesn't matter, you lose a piece of momentum. Every time you defend your dream to someone who doesn't believe in you, you weaken your own fire. Imagine trying to run a marathon while giving half your strength away to every person who asks you where you're going. By the time you hit the starting line, you have nothing left. That is what happens when you live to explain instead of execute. Execution builds confidence. Explanation builds doubt. When you spend your time acting, every step forward reinforces your belief in yourself. You can see progress, you can measure growth, you can feel momentum. But when you waste energy explaining, you invite other people's opinions into the sacred space of your vision. Their doubts become your doubts. Their fears become your fears. And before long, Your dream feels smaller than it did when you first believed in it. Protect your energy. Protect your focus, because execution, not explanation, is the true fuel of success. Look at the great achievers of history. Did they spend their lives explaining to the world what they were about to do, or did they let their work speak for them? Thomas Edison didn't go door to door trying to convince people he would invent the light bulb. He worked in silence, failed thousands of times, and then one day he lit the world. Muhammad Ali didn't need to explain his training. His victories in the ring were his explanation. When you execute with discipline, the world cannot deny you. Results are the only language that people truly understand. Here's another hook. People believe results, not promises. You can promise the world 1,000 times that you will succeed, but until you show them the evidence, your words are just noise. Results silence critics. Results answer doubts. Results command respect without you having to demand it. Stop chasing validation with explanations and start earning respect with execution. Execution also creates freedom. When you are committed to action, you no longer depend on people's opinions to keep moving forward. You are free from their approval, because your progress speaks for itself. But when you waste energy explaining, you chain yourself to other people's reactions. Their approval lifts you, their doubt crushes you, and their indifference discourages you. That is no way to build a legacy. Free yourself from the trap of explanation by committing fully to execution. Imagine this: two people stand side by side with the same dream. One tells everyone about it, sharing their plans, their vision, their future. The other says nothing, but works in silence every day. 6 months later, one is still talking, still planning, still convincing. The other has built something real. Who will the world respect? Who will they believe? Who will they follow? The silent executor, because action speaks louder than any explanation ever could. Execution builds discipline. It teaches you to move without applause, to act without recognition, to grind without noise. This discipline compounds. The more you act, the stronger you become. The stronger you become, the greater your results. And soon, you don't need to explain, because your life is the explanation. Your work becomes your proof. Your progress becomes your voice. Your success becomes your answer. Here's the final hook you must remember: people may ignore your explanations, but they cannot ignore your execution. They may not listen when you talk, but they will notice when you build. They may doubt your promises, but they cannot deny your results. Execution turns doubters into witnesses and silence into power. Stop wasting energy on explanation. Channel it all into action. Because in the end, your work will speak louder, clearer, and stronger than your words ever could. There is something magnetic about mystery. The less people know about you, the more they want to know. The quieter your moves, the louder their curiosity grows. And here's the truth: mystery creates power. When you keep your vision silent, when you protect your goals from exposure, you step into an advantage most people will never understand. Because the moment people see everything you're doing, they begin to judge it, copy it, or even try to stop it. But when they don't know, they can't control, they can't interfere, and they can't compete. Silence creates mystery, and mystery builds strength. Think about the great leaders, the innovators, the game changers. They weren't broadcasting every step they took. They moved in silence, letting their actions gather force, until suddenly the world woke up to something so powerful it couldn't be ignored. the less you reveal, the more unstoppable you become, because your moves are invisible to those who would try to slow you down. Here's the hook: people can only fight what they can see. If they can't see it, they can't stop it. Mystery also protects your energy. When you stop showing your progress step by step, you cut off the noise of opinions. People love to insert their advice, their criticism, their doubts. Most of the time, this noise doesn't come from wisdom, it comes from insecurity. When you are building something extraordinary, you cannot afford to let ordinary minds dilute your vision. By keeping your work private, you filter out the noise and preserve your focus. The mystery isn't just for them, it's for you. It keeps your mind clean, your energy sharp, and your focus unshaken. There is another kind of power in mystery anticipation. People may doubt you when they don't see results right away, but the longer you stay quiet, the more they start to wonder. They begin asking questions. They begin to speculate, and when you finally reveal what you've been working on, the impact is 10 times greater, because nobody saw it coming. The shock, the surprise, the undeniable proof. It hits harder because it wasn't expected. Silence turns your success into a storm that arrives without warning. Here's another hook: mystery makes you unpredictable, and unpredictability makes you dangerous. When your competitors know your every move, they can plan against you. When they don't, they're left guessing. And while they waste their time trying to figure you out, you're already 2 steps ahead. Mystery keeps you untouchable. Mystery keeps you in control. And mystery makes you the kind of person nobody underestimates, because they never know what you'll do next. But let's make this clear. Mystery is not about arrogance. It is not about being secretive for the sake of ego. Mystery is about protection. It's about guarding the sacred process of creation, giving yourself the privacy to fail, to learn, to adjust, without an audience watching every mistake. You don't need the world to see every draft, every setback, every small attempt. That's your journey, your training ground, your hidden preparation. Mystery gives you the space to grow without interruption. Consider the boxer who trains behind closed doors. Nobody sees the grueling hours, the sweat, the pain, the sacrifices. The world only sees the fight night, when all of that hidden preparation explodes into visible victory. The crowd doesn't need to see the training. They only need to see the knockout. That is the essence of power's invisible preparation, visible results. Mystery makes the outcome even more powerful, because it is born in silence. And here's a final hook: when you are mysterious, people talk. When you reveal everything, they stop caring. Overexposure kills excitement. But when you hold back, when you keep your work close, curiosity builds. People begin to notice the discipline in your silence. They begin to sense something happening, even if they can't name it. They begin to respect you, not because you told them what you would do, but because they can feel that something is growing, something is building, and when it arrives, it demands attention. Mystery creates space for greatness to breathe. It gives you an aura that cannot be copied, because nobody truly knows what's driving you. They can see the results, but they can't see the engine. They can admire the tree, but they don't understand the roots. And that's how it should be. Protect the roots. Protect the process. Keep them guessing, keep them wondering, and let your results arrive like thunder on a quiet night. The most powerful things in life rarely start with noise. A seed grows in silence. The sun rises without announcement. The tide shifts without warning. And yet, when the results show themselves, they are undeniable. That is the secret you must hold close to your heart. Work quietly, shock loudly. When you dedicate yourself to the grind in silence, you build strength, focus, and discipline that the world cannot see. And when the time comes, your results arrive like thunder, impossible to ignore, too powerful to deny. Here's the hook, people: remember impact, not intention. You can tell the world what you plan to do. You can announce your dreams every day, but none of it matters until results arrive. And when they arrive, they speak louder than every promise you ever made. The quiet grind may go unnoticed, but the success it creates shakes the ground beneath it. Think of the greatest athletes, the ones who change the game. Their victories are celebrated under the bright lights, but their training happens in the dark. The lonely mornings, the endless drills, the repetitions nobody claps for. That's where champions are made. Their silence becomes their strength. Their results become their roar. That is the rhythm of greatness: invisible effort, undeniable outcomes. When you work quietly, you create an element of surprise. Nobody sees you coming. Nobody prepares for your arrival. They underestimate you, they overlook you, and then one day you stand before them with results they never imagined you could achieve. That shock, that silence breaking into a roar, is one of the most powerful forces in the world. Success is sweetest when it is unexpected, and it is most impactful when it cannot be ignored. Here's another hook: noise is cheap, results are priceless. Anyone can make noise about what they want to do, but very few can show the results of what they've actually done. Noise fades, results echo. When you train yourself to ignore the craving for noise and focus fully on the grind, you begin to build a foundation so strong that when the results arrive, they last. Work in silence so the success you reveal is permanent, not temporary. But working quietly doesn't just create shock value. It sharpens your focus. Noise invites distraction. The moment you start broadcasting your every step, you start seeking validation. You begin adjusting your path based on opinions instead of vision. Silence removes that. Silence allows you to listen to your own voice, to your own instinct, to your own drive. It cuts out the background chatter and puts your attention where it belongs: on execution. Imagine this: you're in the gym training alone. Nobody is watching, nobody is cheering, nobody even knows you're there. Every rep feels endless, every set feels heavy, but those invisible hours are what build strength. When you step onto the field, into the ring, or onto the stage, suddenly the world sees a strength they didn't expect. What they see is shocking, but you know it's the quiet work paying off. That is the formula: silent grind, loud victory. Here's another hook: silence humbles you, results elevate you. When you stop talking and start working, you are forced to prove everything to yourself before you prove anything to the world. You build resilience, you build patience, and you build the kind of confidence that can't be shaken. Because when you've spent countless hours grinding in silence, you know deep down that the results will come. And when they do, no one can take them away from you. The world loves a surprise story. They love the underdog who came out of nowhere, the quiet worker who suddenly became unstoppable. What they don't realize is that nothing was sudden, it was silent. The shock they feel is simply the unveiling of years of invisible effort. That is why you must never underestimate the power of your silence. Every moment you spend working without recognition is a deposit into the bank of results. One day you will withdraw it, and the impact will be so loud it will silence every doubt that was ever spoken against you. So keep this close, work quietly, shock loudly. Let your silence be your discipline. Let your grind be your preparation, and let your results be your thunder. The world doesn't need to hear about your journey. It needs to feel your arrival. There is a discipline most people never master. The discipline of consistency. The secret to greatness is not in grand gestures, it's in the relentless daily grind. Ordinary people wait for motivation, extraordinary people build habits. And here's the truth. If you want to separate yourself from the crowd, if you want to create results so powerful that the world cannot ignore you, you must learn to show up every single day, whether you feel like it or not. Because it is not the intensity of your effort that builds mastery, it is the consistency of your commitment. Here's the hook: success is built in silence, but sustained through routine. Anyone can have a burst of motivation. Anyone can work hard for a week, or a month, or a season. But the ones who rise, the ones who become unstoppable, are the ones who choose discipline over emotion, consistency over comfort, action over excuses. They show up when it hurts. They show up when it's boring. They show up when no one else would. And that consistency, that invisible persistence, compounds into greatness. Think of water dripping on stone. 1 drop does nothing. 10 drops do nothing. 1,000 drops begin to leave a mark. 10,000 drops carve the stone in half. That is the power of consistency. Your daily effort, your silent grind, your small repetitions. They seem invisible today, but they will create results that are impossible to ignore tomorrow. The question is, are you patient enough to keep dripping, even when nothing seems to change? Here's another hook: small efforts, done daily, beat big efforts done occasionally. You don't need to move mountains in a day. You just need to move a little dirt every single day until the mountain has shifted. People burn out because they chase massive results in short bursts. Masters endure because they know consistency is the real superpower. Every rep, every page, every step builds momentum, and momentum creates results far beyond what intensity alone can ever produce. Consistency also protects you from doubt. When you show up daily, your mind stops asking whether you can succeed, because the evidence builds before your eyes. Each day becomes proof that you are committed, proof that you are growing, proof that you are capable of keeping your word to yourself. That confidence, born from consistency, is unshakable. The more you prove yourself to yourself, the less the world's opinions matter. Imagine an artist who paints every day, even if it's only for an hour. At first, the work may feel small, insignificant. But after 1 year, that artist has hundreds of pieces. After 5 years, thousands. What started as invisible practice becomes undeniable mastery. Meanwhile, the one who paints only when inspired may never produce more than a handful. Inspiration is fleeting. Consistency is eternal. And here's the raw truth. Consistency is not glamorous. It is repetitive, it is difficult, it is often boring. But that's why it is so powerful. Because most people will not do it. Most people crave excitement, so they quit when the grind feels ordinary. The few who stay, the few who persist through the monotony, the few who embrace the silence of repetition, those are the ones who become legends. Consistency is not just about effort. It's about identity. Every time you show up, you reinforce to yourself, this is who I am. I am the one who keeps going. I am the one who doesn't quit. I am the one who honors my word. Over time, this becomes unbreakable. You no longer rely on external motivation. You become self-sustained. You become a force that cannot be stopped, because consistency has carved your identity into stone. Here's another hook: the world does not reward the start, it rewards the finish. Anyone can begin, but only the consistent finish. You can't control talent, you can't control luck, but you can control showing up, and if you show up long enough, even talent and luck will have no choice but to bow to your persistence. Think about the gym. The strongest person isn't the one who lifted the heaviest weight once. It's the one who lifted steadily, week after week, year after year. The best writer isn't the one who wrote one brilliant paragraph. It's the one who wrote daily, through writer's block, through exhaustion, through doubt. The best business isn't built on one big idea, it's built on consistent execution. The pattern is clear: greatness belongs to those who keep showing up. So when you feel tired, when you feel unmotivated, when you wonder if the effort is even worth it, remind yourself consistency compounds. Every day you skip, you weaken the chain. Every day you show up, you strengthen it. And over time, that chain becomes unbreakable, carrying you across obstacles, pulling you through setbacks, dragging you towards success, whether you feel ready or not. The secret is simple, but it is not easy. Do it daily. Show up relentlessly. Grind quietly. And one day the world will look at your results with awe, never realizing how many silent, consistent steps it took to get there. There comes a moment in every journey when the silence ends. A moment when the countless invisible hours, the sacrifices nobody saw, the failures nobody knew about, and the resilience nobody applauded, all rise together and demand recognition. That moment is not about noise, not about proving doubters wrong, but about letting your results speak for you. Because when you win in public after working in silence, you don't just succeed, you inspire. You don't just prove something to yourself. You set a standard that others cannot ignore. Here's the hook: people may doubt what you say, but they can never doubt what you show. Words can be challenged, intentions can be mocked, dreams can be dismissed. But results silence every critic. Success is the language the world respects, because it doesn't need translation, it doesn't need argument, it doesn't need approval. It is undeniable, and when your success finally breaks the surface after years of silent effort, it becomes a roar that shakes the ground. Winning in public is not about arrogance. It is about revelation. It is about unveiling the truth of who you are and what you built, without excuses, without apologies, without explanations. The same people who once questioned you will now quote you. The same ones who ignored you will now seek your guidance. And the same ones who whispered behind your back will now speak your name with respect. That transformation happens not because you told them who you were, but because you showed them. Think of the butterfly. The world doesn't see the long, hidden struggle inside the cocoon. It only sees the beauty when the butterfly emerges. That beauty is not possible without the struggle, without the silence, without the unseen work. Your journey is the same. The silence is not wasted. It is the foundation. And when you finally step into the light, when you reveal what has been building within you, the impact is multiplied because nobody saw the process. They only see the transformation. Here's another hook: public victory is not just about you. It's about everyone who needs proof that it can be done. Your success becomes someone else's hope. Your story becomes someone else's fuel. Your win becomes a reminder to another dreamer that silence is not weakness, that patience is not wasted, that effort in the shadows can one day become glory in the spotlight. By winning in public, you don't just lift yourself, you lift others. But let's be clear, public victory has no shortcuts. You cannot fake it, you cannot rush it, you cannot talk your way into it. The reason it is so powerful is because it is the natural consequence of private discipline. When you skip the silent grind, the public stage exposes you. But when you embrace the silent grind, the public stage crowns you. That is the difference between temporary noise and lasting greatness. Imagine the athlete standing on the podium, the medal hanging heavy around their neck. The crowd sees a champion, but the athlete remembers the early mornings, the pain, the sweat, the nights when quitting seemed easier. Winning in public is not about that one shining moment. It is about every unseen moment that made it possible. The victory is simply the proof. Here's another hook. You don't need to announce your greatness. Your greatness will announce itself. You don't need to convince the world you're worthy. Your results will convince them for you. That is the ultimate payoff of working in silence. You arrive at the moment of victory with nothing to prove, because everything has already been proven. Your present speaks, your results speak, your success speaks, and no voice is louder than that. Winning in public also teaches humility. You realize the stage is not the goal, it is simply the platform to inspire. You don't arrive to boast, you arrive to confirm. You don't arrive to shout, you arrive to show. The victory is not about rubbing it in the faces of doubters. It is about honoring the discipline, honoring the silence, honoring the journey that got you there. True winners know the public moment is sweet, but the private grind was sacred. And when you win in public, something extraordinary happens. People stop questioning your path and start questioning their own. They begin to wonder what they've been doing with their silence, what they've been building with their time, what they've been preparing behind the scenes. Your victory doesn't just validate your process. It challenges others to elevate theirs. That Whittle effect is the real legacy of success. So remember this: the silence is temporary, but the victory echoes forever. Every late night, every early morning, every step that went unseen will one day be revealed in a way nobody can deny. Work in silence, trust the process, stay disciplined in the shadows, and when your time comes, step into the light. Let your results speak, and let the world witness what patience and persistence can create. Because in the end, silence builds, but victory reveals. And when it reveals, it speaks louder than any words ever could.